morning and welcome to Love Every Moment, coming to you today from Brattleboro, Vermont. Well, today's verse is Matthew 5:31 and also the first part of 32. It says, "It was said, whoever sends his wife away, let him give her a certificate of divorce. But I say to you that everyone who divorces his wife, except for the reason of unchastity, makes her commit adultery." Wow, this is pretty straightforward and there's not much wiggle room on this. Now, in Malachi, God says, "I hate divorce." If I was to ask, does the Christian church in America hate divorce? Well, by the statistics, I would have to say no. The statistics show that Christians divorce just as often as non-Christians do, and it's somewhere around 50%. It's not good. So how do we deal with this as a Christian church? Well, let's let Jesus expound on what he was saying if we look at Matthew 19:3 and forward. It says, "Some Pharisees came to Jesus, testing him and asking, 'Is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife for any reason at all?' And he answered and said, 'Have you not read that he who created them from the beginning made them male and female, and said, for this reason a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let no man separate.' They said to him, 'Why then did Moses command to give her a certificate of divorce and send her away?' And he said to them," watch this, "because of your hardness of heart." Most divorce is caused by someone's hardness of heart. Now you may say, "But you don't know my situation." I get that. Let me continue on what Jesus says. "Because of your hardness of heart, Moses permitted you to divorce your wives. But from the beginning, it has not been this way." And then he repeats what was in the Sermon on the Mount. "And I say to you, whoever divorces his wife, except for immorality, and marries another woman, commits adultery." So, Jesus doesn't really allow a lot of wiggle room on this. There's only one acceptable, at least biblically acceptable, reason to divorce, and that's if your spouse commits adultery, so a cheating spouse. And even then, it doesn't say we have to divorce. There is such a thing as forgiveness. Now, if you really want your mind blown, read Hosea chapter 1 and chapter 3. They're both really short, but I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. So God says to Hosea, "I want you to go marry a prostitute." Wow, really? Right. "And she's going to cheat on you." Sure enough, she does. Then, once she cheats on him, God says, "I want you to take her back." But not only take her back, woo her back. Love her back. Show love and forgiveness to her. Now, that's really the power of God's love. So some may say to me, "But you don't know my hurts. My spouse is a jerk, or my ex-spouse is a jerk. I have crushed dreams. I had all these goals for marriage, and it didn't work out. And you don't understand my hurt." I get that. You may also say to me, "What about abuse?" My short answer to that is abuse is a different topic. And that's probably not satisfactory to you, so I'll tell you what, after the end credits, stay tuned and I'll expound on what I mean. But here's the amazing thing. If we fall so deeply in love with Jesus, and he can have everything, including our hurts, our disappointments, and everything that went with a bad marriage, he has love that can solve all of this. And he wants us to love our spouse, even if our spouse is a jerk. He wants us to love our ex-spouse if we're divorced, even if our ex-spouse was a total jerk. Because that's the kind of love he can give us. It's a love that's way beyond human love. And that's why I say, if we love every moment, we're going to love every moment. I'm your average wretch, and I hope you have a good week. Well, welcome back. And I said a pretty controversial statement that I felt that abuse is a separate issue from divorce. And here's what I mean. Feel free to disagree with me. I mean, I'm just your average wretch anyway. But if let's just say a woman is being being abused by her husband. If that woman files for divorce and tells her husband, I'm going to file for divorce, and he's an abuser, remember that divorce takes months, at least months, if not sometimes even years. And that's going to just make him mad, and the possibility for further abuse and even really tragic results can really be strong that way. I say that you don't have time to file for divorce. If you are a woman being abused by your husband, you need to get out now. Do not delay. Get out, get to a safe place, a friend's house, a relative, a police station, somewhere. Get safe. And then, as soon as you're safe, call the authorities right away and report the abuse. You have to do this, and especially if there are any kind of marks or cuts or bruises or anything like that on your body, that has to be freshly photographed for the police evidence. That is what needs to happen. That will definitely get the attention of an abusing husband for sure. And you'll be safe. So, there's, of course, two main results that can happen from this. The hopeful result is that the husband will come to his senses and say, oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was that bad, and I'm sorry, etc. From that point, the Christian woman would say, I love you, I forgive you, and I want to restore our marriage because that's what God wants. But it's not going to happen right away. I'm not coming back to you right away. We need to go through some counseling, and I'll be there for you. Let's agree with a counselor, hopefully a Christian counselor, but let's agree on a counselor. And let's go, not just for one session, not just for 2 or 5, many sessions. This is not weeks, it's months at least, and maybe even quite a few months. But if we do that, and I'm satisfied, the counselor is satisfied, and my friends and family are satisfied that we have really come to a point where it's safe for both of us to come back together, then I'm all for it, and let's do that. That, of course, is our best scenario. God would get glory, and boy, that couple would have a real testimony to give so that they can also help other couples that are going through similar issues. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Of course, there's the lesser wonderful scenario, and that's quite possibly the more likely scenario, that as the woman says, we will get together if we'll go through counseling. The husband will probably say, no, I'm not going to go through counseling, I'm going to divorce you. Then he divorces her. Then she is at least not starting divorce. She's not causing it. She has given the offer of love, the offer of forgiveness, and the offer of getting back together after counseling. As far as I can see, she's doing everything right that God would want her to do. And then if he divorces her, then so be it. She's done everything she could that a Christian really could be expected to do. Plus, she's safe because she got out of there right away. So that's why I'm saying it's kind of a separate issue, because you have to get out and get safe immediately. So any Christian woman watching this, please get out and get safe right away, and report any abuse abusive husband to the authorities. It's got to be our priority. That's where I stand on that. Feel free to disagree, and let's still choose the path of love. God has some powerful love that can work powerful things. If we love every moment, we're going to love every moment. Thanks for staying by. Have a great week.